Good evening, and welcome to TCB Studios, and welcome to Burn It Down. We are constantly being reminded how fragile this life is. And unfortunately, it seems the past few years it happens more often than it has in the past. Just wanted to take a moment to talk to everyone watching. Thank you for checking in tonight. So many beautiful things came out of the pandemic, and many of them were musicians that I was fans of already. And because of doing live streams, we became peers and we became friends. Then I met complete strangers that I wound up collaborating with, working on musical projects with, and they became dear friends. And then you have all these wonderful networks. And we lost someone. I want to give a special shout out and send our love and our hearts and our prayers even to Anand Vyas and his family and everyone at Socially Distant Fest, and let you know that we're here with you, and our hearts are with you. And also Julio Morales and anyone else who is going through a rough time. Thank you, Julio, for making that flyer tonight. Reach out to us. We're here for you. And the other thing is I've been trying to make it a special thing lately in my life is before I go to bed each night to contact someone I haven't talked to in a while. Tell them you're thinking about them. Tell them you love them. Say, let's get together and get a cup of coffee. Because this life really is fragile, and sometimes it can go by just too quick. And then we feel bad that we haven't spoken to the ones that we love. So I'm sending all my good vibes out to you guys tonight. Thank you for checking in to Burn It Down. Thank you, Renee Jaworski, everyone behind the scenes. I'm super excited about my guest tonight. I've shared the stage with him several times, and I've shared wonderful conversations with him off stage, behind the scenes, backstage in green rooms. And he's just led such a good example as a human and an artist and a musician from afar for me over the past few years, even before the pandemic, because he just has not stopped. I mean, this man's work ethic is just insane. And I've reached out to him and said, thank you so much for the inspiration. I'm so glad we can get him on the show tonight. He's got a brand new record that I've been listening to, but man, you don't want to hear me talk about it. Let me introduce to you Adam McIntyre from the band, the Pinx.
Hello.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm very
So
happy to be coming to you live from my recording studio where I do all the stuff anyway.
it looks so good and everything. I mean, so whatever lights you have on, do you wear that color shirt? Because I see some gorgeous purples behind you and you're wearing a beautiful purple shirt.
Oh, color is its own kind of magic,
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
just like music is.
Tomorrow we'll wear gold and the lights will be gold.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So maybe we'll have more of like a solar plexus chakra thing going
Oh
on.
my good. Yeah. We were talking backstage, and and half the things we started saying, I'm like, wait, I need to wait a minute and let's talk about this on our actual show, because we want it to be this natural conversation. Like if you and I saw each other outside a coffee shop or outside a show, we would just catch up and have some tea and just catch up and really, really talk.
Well, I'd probably be more anxious and if we just ran into each other somewhere.
I know. Because reality is, I don't think we've shared the stage with each other since 2019, like before the pandemic. Yeah, because we were doing some Christmas shows, and we lucked out, and we saw each other on stage often. And unfortunately, as we get older and have more responsibilities, sometimes the only way you can guarantee me watching your band is if I'm sharing the stage with you.
Yep.
Otherwise, I wish I can go to 5 shows a week. But
Yeah, that's exactly right. And a lot of the time it's like, man, we should hang out more often. Let's start a band together,
I know.
That's like the excuse to hang out with that person more often.
Oh my goodness, that's one of the problems with as we get older, we get more responsibilities, and then you're like, wait, can I make a deal with the devil or somebody, and can I invest in a 30-hour days, or can I, or maybe like I just need more time.
Did you ever, when you were, I don't know if you're if you considered yourself or identified as a musician like in elementary school, but like long before I ever like actually went on stage and played music
Hmm.
or could really play a song all the way through, I would tell classmates like, "Oh, you got a drum kit? We're in a band together."
Oh,
You
that's
know?
amazing. Well, you're way cooler than me. I do tell people my story real quick is growing up in Queens, New York. My parents, even though they had no money, they somehow bartered, and I got piano lessons, guitar lessons, dance lessons, even well, like I said, dance lessons, and I believe it was vocal lessons. And then I would get beat up because I'm walking home with tap shoes and stuff. And I was like, forget this. I want to play second base for the Mets. And I really did. I love baseball. And then one day, I don't know, 15, 16, I discovered girls and great music and beer. And I was like, man, I'm throwing this mid out the window. And that's when I started really starting my bands.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have a real band until I was like 16, 17 years old, but
Again, you're still doing better than me because I think my first 10 bands were just me and my brother who were just designing logos and be like, oh, we're called this, we're called that, and
I
then
think that's an important stage.
it actually really is. And which I might as well just jump right into it. I've got it written down on my hand, been rocking out to you guys. I love the name The Pinx, and I love the spelling. I mean, just everything. It's just awesome. And you've been doing that for a long time and
Well,
been,
thank the Kinks
yeah,
and
it's
Jim
a play
O'Kane.
on, yeah.
Yeah, because I just took the Kinks and just changed one letter. And our original drummer and wonderful, lovely human being, Jim O'Kane,
Love
just
Jim.
powerhouse drummer. Um, Me and the bass player like went out of the Star Bar and grabbed a slice of pizza before the
Mhm.
show and came back in. And the chalkboard behind the stage at the Star Bar was PINX
That's
instead of
amazing.
PINKS. And we looked at each other and went like, I actually like that. Like,
Yeah,
that's us now.
it's two less letters. It's like, or it's
And
one less. It's
it
one less.
doesn't
Like
mean
it's easier.
anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I absolutely love it, and I love Jim, and I like I was saying, because we actually had chatted. We bumped into each other. You already were on a roll with being prolific. I mean, you were putting out so much before the pandemic, but then it just seemed like you said, "Wait a minute, what's going on here? I don't know how long the world's going to be shut down for, but I'm not going to let it stop me." And you
Pretty much.
dove into this album, and this really feels like your biggest, like your grandest statement that I've ever heard.
Yeah. And I very deliberately worked up to it. I knew as soon as my older son's school was like, that's it, no more classes for, 2 weeks or 2 months or whatever. And I was like, we're not going to have any more school this year. You're not
Oh,
fooling
really?
anybody. So that
Yeah,
means that I had this huge chunk of my day where that I got back and I had been wanting to record. I had like, on my phone, I've got thousands of voice notes of little ideas. I've got lyrics. I have stuff that I
wonderful.
play when I pick up a guitar that I don't know that I know is going to be a song eventually. And I was like, God, I've
Yeah,
got this backlog of stuff and I really need to get to it. And I did a blues record, which was
yeah, and
super easy.
I love that record.
It was I wanted to get all of like the gross things out of me that have you ever wanted to start writing something and gone like, no, I can't write a song about that. That's too much. It's too personal.
But
I'm not
now's the time to
uncomfortable
do it.
about that. Go ahead.
But then now was the time to do it. You're like,
Now
okay,
is
now,
absolutely the time to, and
yeah,
I had a plan, and I got all that stuff out of the way. And it's a blues record. I wrote roughly a song a day, sometimes two songs a day, and I had a blues record after a week and a half. And then
amazing.
I took a massive dose of mushrooms, probably 6 or 7 grams or something like that, and spoke to the sun for about 2 hours.
Right.
And it told me that I'm just barreling through this story as if that's totally a normal thing.
No, no, well, I love mushrooms, but I think so. The sun told you,
Creating
Okay,
is the most important thing.
yeah, and the blues are out of you. Now I want you to be grand and rock out. I want to hear Led Zeppelin. Which is
Well, it
funny
was
because Led Zeppelin are a blues, heavy blues band as well. But just bring this thing out.
I moved on to like kind of the idea of and I reposted Ram Dass earlier talking about this exact thing, but like asking yourself, who am I? And you really truly can only conceive of like the tip of the iceberg of who or what you are. And you're so much more than you think you are.
Without a
And
doubt. Yeah.
and I decided to try to figure out like what have I been depriving myself of? And I made a funk record. I made like a
Yeah.
psychedelic funk
Yeah.
record, like in the style of like Parliament Funkadelic, and then there's like some like heavier stuff on there, like there was on Super Stupid. And then I made like an almost like Prince type, like Minneapolis funk record. And then a week after that, see, this was 2020, I started writing the next
Yeah.
Pinx album
So do
because
you
I was
guys
like,
hear
I'm
what I'm
warmed up now.
yeah.
I'm going to do it.
Do you guys hear what I'm saying out there who are listening when I say prolific? That's probably 50 or 60 songs recorded, which means he might have worked on 100 songs.
Yeah, I mean, it was like a song a day for roughly a year, but like the point is not, wow, look what Adam did. It
Mhm.
was so there was a lot of depression and intrusive thoughts and mental illness, and I
Oh
was
my
drowning
goodness.
that out. I was
Yeah.
drowning it out and grounding it out by doing songs. If I stopped making songs for a day, it was like the devil suddenly was about to get me. So
Well,
I just
yeah,
kept creating.
you were an inspiration to me, man. Because it's funny. Well, we saw this happen, in real time with people we love and then strangers that we got to know from doing like live streams and charity benefits to try to help some of our friends, bars or clubs keep the lights on.
Yes.
And the thing is you could make one choice out of like 8 or 9, and like, during this time, the past few years, some people, they complained too much or they ate too much and became, let's just say a little bit more slovenly than they were the year before. Maybe they drank too much booze. Some people, I tried to get out more. I was trying to write a poem or a song a day and hike once a day, which I did for a good while.
That
And
sounds like
like,
a great routine.
and I think the two hardest things to buy during the pandemic were bicycles and RVs because people were like, okay, we need to reinvent what we can do.
Yeah.
And the other thing you can do is take on something that maybe you've always wanted to do and now you're not at work. So now it's time to do it, whether it's surfing or karate or learning an instrument or writing 50 albums or 4 new albums or one
Or
big
lock
brand new
picking.
album. Yeah. And the thing is I tried to do the same. Didn't sometimes didn't meet my goals, but that's okay too. Don't beat yourself up. But
Yeah, the
this
point is not
album,
to get the thing done. The point is to do the thing.
that's exactly it. That's exactly it. I mean, I was interviewing Daniel Gay last week, who we've become collaborators together, and basically I was trying to think of this quote, and I got it completely wrong. And then the next day I saw it. It was a Kurt Vonnegut quote, and he basically said, "Paint, write a song, do something. It's not the point whether it's good or not. It's the point is that you did it. You created something."
Right. Then that's essentially what the Sun had said to me. It was like, I need you to stop worrying about what happens to these creations once you're done with them.
Well, I'm so glad you didn't do any less mushrooms than you did on that day.
It was truly magnificent.
Oh man. You recorded this with a friend of mine that I've worked with, Tom Tapley at West End Sound. Shout
Yeah.
out to Tom. He'll eventually be a guest on the show. I've worked on some Western Motel stuff and a couple of other things with Tom, and what a pleasure to work with as a human. Before I moved to New York, I bought an old Mercedes off him. He's just like a slice of heaven to be around. Like, how was the experience in the studio?
Did you know that Tom and I have been friends for like most of our lives?
Well, I didn't, and thank you for sharing that now. But I gathered that from seeing the way you guys have reacted to each other's posts and him sharing your post, and then you saying something like, "Oh yeah, do you remember in 2000 or do you remember in the 90s we did this?" So I put two and two together. But now, man, now we need another show. I want you to give me the scoop on really the dirt on Tom.
Well, I was after his sister.
That's awesome.
And I gave her a cassette of some stuff that my band had recorded at rehearsal, and I kind of, it was on a 4-track, you know,
Mhm.
and Tom heard these recordings and wanted to ask me questions about how I had gotten these drum sounds and stuff
Yeah,
like that. And he started coming to see my band, and I was too
I
young to be
love
playing in the club, and he was too young to be in the club. And he would
sure.
wait for me outside watching us through the window
Mhm.
and talk to me in between sets. And he just won me over
Oh,
immediately. He
he's
was
such
such
a
a sweet
doll.
kid.
I can't wait to have him on as well. Yeah, I when like I said, I bought a Mercedes off him, and then I sold it, moved back to New York, and we started talking a lot. And it was like the dream. My first place I got back in New York was like an old loft style apartment with an old piano in it, and I was like, man, I'm
Mm.
really living like the epitome of like a New Yorker. I wake up every morning, have a cup of coffee, and I bang out and try to work on songs on the piano. And I'd send him some of my ideas, and he gave me some great good opinions on them. I didn't know what I was going to use them for at certain times. Like, will this be a solo song? Will this be for like West End Motel? He at one point was like, I may be able to use these songs for this country band I'm working with, you know. And then he even said to me one time, he goes, Tom, I don't know how to say this to you, and I'm sure he would say the same to you. He goes, I don't know how to say this to you, but this country band is like a new country band, and your songs are too smart. You need to dumb them down. I was like,
That
man,
honestly,
I was like, what I wanted you to say is, you want to buy this song for a lot of
right,
money.
right.
But
That
no,
that is
love.
honestly one thing that they teach you in Nashville, that it needs to be like a first or second grade reading level.
Yeah, and
It
it's the
can't be
same
using
thing.
$5 words.
It's the same thing with hip hop and R&B these days, which is sad because we love the art form. I love old country and I love '80s hip hop, and I'm like, yeah, no, they want you. I think they call it the 6-year-old in the bathtub effect. So it's basically when your mom or your dad is giving you your bath, and then that song's playing, and by the second time, the kid is knows the whole song,
Yeah.
and it's kind of, man, what's going on with that?
Well, there's a little bit of like to be really ugly about it, it's lowest common denominator.
No, no, you're no, you're
But
it's the
but also
reality.
that stuff is so like basic, and that's, I don't mean that in a bad way. It's so basic that it's going to resonate with more people. But
Right.
that doesn't honestly mean like, play the game if you want to.
No,
But
you're yeah, I mean, because I
if
mean,
you're writing something and you're thinking, I'm having to dumb this down as I go along, you're fucked.
right. That's the thing. Because I mean, I still regularly in my life listen to, Conway Twitty and early, Redheaded Stranger was just playing the other day. And I also listened to
Grew
De
up with
La
that one.
Soul, De La Soul, like when the art form is still there. And then it's such a weird thing because I even talked to Tom about this one time. I was like, the country songs, you don't even like a new country song. It's like shake your badonk, donk. It almost sounds like a bad R&B song. And I'm like, what's
Yes.
going on here?
Yes.
You know,
Well,
I want
in modern hip hop's defense, I have to mention Run the Jewels.
Oh, I love it. Well, so they are perfectly taking the art seriously. I mean, I've met LP before. Interesting guy. I mean, like grew up on more rock and roll and
Yeah.
like AC/DC and the Clash and was trying to sample that stuff. No, there's trust me. I mean, I could name a lot of people that aren't big that have inspired me as new hip hop acts. But
Yeah, yes,
anyway,
there's so much stuff out there that does make me wanna get up off my ass
yeah,
and do a better job, but it's not the mainstream stuff
yeah,
anymore. If
yeah,
it's gonna be mainstream, it is gonna be dumbed down a little bit. But
yeah,
let me tell you a little something. The very minute that you change what you're doing to suit the mainstream,
yeah.
somebody will get big doing what you were just doing.
Yes, and man, I hope everyone's taking notes here because Adam. First of all, Adam's record, by the way, will make you want to get off your ass. And I know East Atlanta Village, the Earl, which is one of my favorite places to either play or see a band play. That's where you're having your record release Saturday night, and then you're having one Friday night. Um, and
At
Friday night,
Grant's Lounge in Macon.
beautiful. Yeah, it seems like you guys have like gotten a whole new like group of people come up following you and making.
We Back in the day, see, the Pinks have been a band for a minute. But
Yeah, for
back in the
sure.
day, that was where we had our biggest crowds,
Wow. Okay.
followed closely by Auburn and Tuscaloosa. And
Yeah.
we would just go out and play shows and come back and not play in Atlanta. Like it didn't matter.
Right.
And it's slowly but surely we lost Macon. The place where we usually played, the booking guy changed, the owners
Oh,
changed,
wow.
and the focus shifted from like, hey, we want to have like really quality entertainment to like, once again, no slight to this kind of thing,
Right. No, I
but
know
their
it. Yeah.
focus the club changed to an emphasis on cover bands.
Right. They didn't want to see live rock and roll to an original, which, my goodness, man, who wouldn't want to see that? But they,
Yeah, and
I,
we show up and we're, you know, we're the wrong kind of thing at their party, you know, like, and
yeah.
they didn't want us back and we didn't want to go back. And it took a while for us to find a new home in Macon.
Oh, man,
And
I'm so glad you're back. And it seems like there's been a rise, and a lot of it may have to do with just because people are so hungry and starving to get out and see live music after 2 years not being able to do that, or 2.5 years. But the South in general, man, because I'm getting emails from people I hadn't talked to since the early 2000s, want me to play in like Montgomery, Alabama, and Huntsville. Like Huntsville supposedly is the new. So any connections I have there, I will pass forward to you. But
please
like
do.
Huntsville, from what I hear, is the place on a Saturday night where people want to go out and hear original, and they
Yeah.
want to see two guitar players and a bass player and a guy screaming.
I think I know a band that does that.
Yeah. Oh, man. I was trying to think about other really interesting stories between us, because that makes part of this show, Burn It Down, interesting, because it's about camaraderie and brotherhood and sisterhood and stuff, as musicians. And I feel like I owe it to ask you and let you tell people, because he's a wonderful working class hero in America that more people need to know about. But your relationship and you working with Wayne Kramer from MC5 and playing like MC50 shows and stuff like that, or MC5 reunion shows.
Yeah. What specifically about it would you like to know? Because
Oh,
I've
well,
literally got a book.
I think I read, I take notes before I do my show,
Mhm.
but also I never want this to be a Wikipedia show. It's about
Right.
friendship. But I think I remember you in one interview just saying that he already was this important role model, and then next thing you guys can send each other notes on your birthday, and that's a pretty amazing thing. I talk about that all the time. I mentioned it earlier that we're lucky that sometimes someone that we looked up to now, even if they're playing all over the world, whatever, that they're now peers of ours.
I if just in case Wayne's watching,
Yeah.
I wish that we had been kids at the same time, but we're
Right.
not. We're not like he's further along than I am, not only in age, but like I think the number of times that he's been here and the number of times he's messed up, which I'm closing in on him. But Wayne has been sculpted by bad stuff happening to him, most of which
Sure.
was his fault. And it's chiseled him into this really amazing person. Um,
Right.
that I'm really glad I can call my friend and mentor now.
Right.
And I told him this before, but I think he's kind of like a dad replacement type
Yeah.
human for me.
Like the coolest dad replacement.
Right. But a lot of people say never meet your heroes.
Right.
And I say get better heroes.
Right. No, I agree. So that, yeah, I guess, yeah, that's kind of one of the things I was saying, because I believe in that. And we try to do, you learn from your mistakes. My dad used to say, I never want to make the same mistake more than 20 or 25 times.
Ah!
And he made, but he does like jail guitar doors and
Yeah.
philanthropic work. And I certainly was so familiar with him. Um, but I basically looked at him as like, other heroes that I didn't know well, like, Iggy and the Stooges. They came from the same town. But I
Yeah.
met him briefly backstage when you guys were playing at the Variety Playhouse. And I'm friends with Brendan Canty, who was playing drums with you guys. And I just quickly said hello, and I was flying in from New York, and I think I had a show with the EARL that night. So I
Yeah.
literally went in to say hi, and next thing you know, I'm saying hello to Kim from Soundgarden, who's beautiful,
Yeah.
what a wonderful man and guitar player.
Yeah,
And
Kim and I hit it off that night too. That was
I'm
and
sure you
and
did.
everybody was
Yeah,
so nice. Everybody in his band was so nice.
yeah,
And
and
his wife
yeah,
Margaret Kramer told me, "You know what the rule is about people who play with Wayne Kramer now?" And I was like, "What's that?" And she was like, "No assholes."
that's right. Well, and that's what I think. I walked downstairs and I'm in this room with legends, yourself on the list, but I'm like, whoa, and then I think it was Wayne and then Kim were like, and I say hi to you, and Wayne Kramer's like, are you Tom Cheshire? And I go, yeah. He goes, oh, Brendan's looking for you. He's upstairs. And I'm like, nice to meet you. And how lovely is that? And you're absolutely right. Pick better heroes, because there's some musicians over the years that I've loved, but I'm like, I don't need to meet them. But then when you meet a guy like Mike Watt or someone like Wayne Kramer, who they're working class and they're doing the right things with their stuff, and they literally say it's pretty simple. No assholes. You're toxic. You're not
Yeah.
playing with me. You're not playing with
And
me tonight.
and he may consider himself as having a lot to atone for. But it besides that, he likes to preach is not the right connotation, but he likes to preach that
Sure.
helping people is kind of the point of being here. And if you get to play music in front of a bunch of people and get the opportunity to help people, then you're doing it right. And what Jail Guitar Doors is, and folks at home, brace yourselves because this is going to sound strange for just a second. What they do is they take guitar donations to prisons,
It's amazing.
and they give a classroom of sometimes violent offenders guitars,
Right.
and they say, here's how you play these chords, here's
Yeah.
what we're doing when we write lyrics,
Right.
and if you were to channel your violent tendencies and negative thoughts into music instead of doing whatever it is that got you in here, um, it might keep you out when you
I
get out.
know. That's amazing.
Having an outlet, having somebody to talk to, being able to express yourself in a here it is again, in a creative way. Like creating is the point,
Mhm.
really. Like I don't think anybody's trying to teach these prisoners that they're going to get a record deal. What they're
No,
trying
no,
to teach them
it's
is how to
about
cope with
solace.
being
Yeah.
alive.
It's about solace and finding peace in yourself, and also, and we believe that at TCB and Burn It Down, and everything that I've been tried to attach myself to now for 10 years is paying it forward always. I mean, like the simplest thing, like you know um giving somebody the opportunity, and what they're doing, it's tremendous.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it.
Oh man. So what else? I saw you make another post. You're like, where should we tour, or who should we tour with? What's next? Because I mean, I know you, and I know that you've also been living a healthier lifestyle for a few years now, and you look wonderful.
Thank
Congratulations.
you. Thanks.
And it's clearly working. Like the brain, the body. I know for a minute you said, stress and mental stress, because we go through it. But I also know you're not going to show any signs of slowing down.
Sometimes depression will just lay you flat, and
Mhm.
I try not to let it do that, and the operative word is try.
Yeah.
But as long as I'm of relatively sound mind, I'm going to keep on creating. I'm working on more Pinx songs right now. I'm working on Black Planet 2,
I love it, dude.
which is going to be bigger and funkier even than the first one was. And we have to, just being super duper candid here, we have to get on the road. We had
Yeah.
a tour opening for somebody, and we were going up to New York and back, and we don't have that tour or most of it anymore.
Oh,
And
wow.
at this point, I'm frankly, I'm texting friends and bands saying, "Are you on tour?
Yeah.
Because we would love to join you. And if you know
Mhm.
anybody that we could hop on a tour, because it's too late for us to book a
Oh,
tour
no.
for
Yeah.
when we need to be out, which is starting next week."
Right.
So frankly, like we need to get out and play some shows. So if you see us out playing know that it came together very quickly.
Right.
But we've got some shows coming up, this weekend, and then we'll be announcing another handful of shows soon.
Well, we need people watching, our friends watching, and also we have people watching regularly now in the Netherlands and the UK. And I think you guys straight up just need to be playing in the UK myself.
Yeah,
Just
I agree. It's
there.
on our dream board. We need to go to
Yeah.
England. When I went over to England, well, we went over to Europe when I was in Stone Rider.
Yeah, great
And
band.
and we were just so well received. And the only thing, and this I've often wondered, is this my ego or is this me thinking or saying this? And I was like, I really feel like my band, the Pinx, would come over here and really kill it. I feel like we get
I know
more
for
of
a
a
fact you
response.
would. I know for a fact you would, because they're hungry for that. They love live music. They love, raising a pint glass in the air and screaming and sing along to it. I'm going to reach out to some friends that I have as well, because even if it's just to help you get some shows in New York and Boston and stuff, I would love to help out. So
I would love to get that help.
yeah, and everyone watching, and Renee behind the scenes, thank you. She's been such a great help believing in me with the show.
Thank you, Renee.
And yeah, thank you, Renee. And she's a great director and a producer. And any of the stuff that you have, whether it's your dates or the record, which, by the way, do you have the vinyl? Because I saw you pulling out. Do you have the vinyl to show everyone now or no? Yeah.
So vinyl will be
Yeah.
here and I don't know if y'all know this, but there is like a 6 to 12 month
It's horrible.
backlog for vinyl. We didn't get the art for this until like 3 weeks ago.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, no, but I just love, because people. We live in this digital world, but people do love having something tangible. A CD.
And
Look
it's
at
easy to
the
get.
record. Look, yeah. But
if you're pre-ordering it from our Bandcamp page, I'm already sending the CDs out.
Oh, perfect. And I'm going to share your Bandcamp again, which I've been doing. And what I really want to do is just thank you for your inspiration and congratulate you, because finishing any record in any time in your life is a huge feat. And that's what I also want to tell people. Listen, none of us are going to probably do as much as Adam's done the past few years. That's okay, But try to write a song.
To say about that.
Yeah.
Okay. So the idea of creating a record is daunting.
It's so stressful.
But if you're a musician, I challenge you to make a song.
Right. Yeah.
If you are a visual artist, make a doodle. And if you are not inspired to do anything right now, draw something dumb.
Yeah.
Frankly. And if same thing works for lyrics, write dumb lyrics, because if you write something dumb or draw something really like deliberately stupid, you're going to kind of crack yourself up. And then there's the playfulness. There's where inspiration come in. And you'll feel minimum 10% better.
Oh, you're going to feel, you're going to feel proud. Like Kurt Vonnegut said, I'm working on a solo record right now, and I've been insecure for 10 years. Like, I can't do it. And I'm like, wait a minute. No, I can, but I'm just working on one song at a time. But we have about 5 songs done right now, and I'm so happy with it, But I think about that, and that's such a good point. You said, like, when Mike Watt finishes a show and he's got John Coltrane playing, and he's his own roadie, he's getting his bass and his rig off stage, he'll grab the microphone and say, go home tonight and do a doodle, do a drawing, write a poem, write a song, write a script. Everyone, peace, good night. And my brother Scott wrote a book because I took him to see Mike Watt in the 90s. And he thanked Mike Watt in the opening line of his book for the inspiration.
Man, that is fantastic. Yeah. That is so cool.
Yeah. Well, man, you're so cool. And I'm praying that I'm in town on Saturday to come see you guys. What time? But I also want to see the opening bands too. Like, is it starting around 8 o'clock? Shows are starting a little bit earlier now.
Yeah, shows are starting a little bit earlier now. The EARL likes to get you in, and by the way, if you've never been to the EARL has awesome sound.
Oh my goodness, it's
And
the best
the
place.
band that is opening for us, Magnolia Moon, is apologies to everyone, one of the greatest bands that we have ever played on a lineup with. And we are super, super excited to see them again,
I'm
much
so
less plan
excited.
a bill with them.
I'm so excited. Congratulations to you. I want to say congratulations to our friend and collaborator, Jeffrey Butcher, who I think is coming on with a live show after we get off, and probably in about 10 or 15 minutes. We both share the stage with Jeffrey. And Jeffrey, I want to be a guest on your show. So does Adam. And let us plug what we're working on. Thank you so much, my friend. Again, you look beautiful, and much love to you and your family. And congratulations.
Thank you.
Everyone, we're going to share links to Bandcamp, everything Adam and the Pinx have been working on. And remember, love is all around, and everyone be good to each other. Take care.